Auls, palisades, and RFID chip needles, the perfect tools to make a perpetual slave. Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachakwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai to return. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And, basically, this lesson is going to go into how, there's nothing new under the sun. And basically, people were made into perpetual servants back in the ancient world. And people, and there's going to be people that are going to be made into perpetual servants in today's time. Now, when you look up the word servant means a slave. A servant is someone who constantly serves. Like, have you ever heard the saying, the servants of the Lord? Now, when somebody comes into this truth, you basically become a perpetual servant unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Okay, that is a part of the oath you make when you come into this truth. Now, we know that the Lord's elect, they're going to be perpetual servants unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, even until Yahweh Shai returns. Now, I want to give a account of, how back in the ancient world, there were men who basically wanted to be a perpetual servant unto their master. And there was a, what's the word I'm looking for? There was a thing they had to go through. I'll just say that. In order to there was a process. There we go. The one of Yahweh Shai. There was a process they had to go through in order to be a perpetual servant. So Exodus chapter 21, verse 5. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him unto the judges, and he shall also bring him to the door or to the doorpost. Now, when somebody goes to get chipped with a RFID chip, what happens? Now, they're not necessarily being brought to the judge, right? But they are being brought before a administrator of the RFID chip. Now, back in the ancient world, the judges of Israel, those were the administrators. The judges of Israel back in the ancient world, those were like your administrators of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Okay, those were like your servants of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And basically, if you look at it today, right, these same people who are administering these RFID chips to people inside their bodies, they are really administrators to the so-called elites, because they're really doing the biddings of the so-called elites. Okay? So basically, when somebody goes to get chipped with an RFID chip at a clinic, that's basically that person is being brought to the door. He's being brought, he or she is being brought to the doorpost to basically to have their ear bored through with a bore. I mean, to have their ear bored through with an awl to basically become a perpetual slave. Okay. Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. Okay. He shall also bring him to the door or unto the doorpost. Okay. And his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. Okay. So this man was basically a servant unto this man forever. That means he couldn't break his oath. Now let me tell you something about the whole, because that brings me over to this image. Here are some images of Auls. Okay. Now basically an awl was designed to basically to put a hole inside your ear. Now that hole in your ear was basically a sign, okay? A sign or a mark that you was a perpetual servant of a particular master. Now, I mean, if you look at this awl right here where my cursor is at, I don't know if you can see it, but right here where my no, I don't want to drop the image in there. No, I'll just do that. Okay, this awl right here where my cursor is at, it looked like it's big enough to fit a RFID chip in there. It looked like there's a hole where you could put a RFID chip inside it. Okay. Here's other brands of awl. Like Apostle Abraham Lob said, awls look like ice picks. They look like an ice pick. Okay. And they are designed to make a basically a big hole in your ear to signify or as a sign or mark that you were a perpetual servant to a particular man who was basically that person's master. Okay. And let me show you something else, because alls are still around today, but now there's different types of alls. Okay. This is also an awl right here. Now they call it a needle today. A needle and a awl are basically the same thing. Okay? They both have one thing a needle and an awl have in common is that they are designed to pierce the skin. Okay? They are designed to pierce through the skin. You can pierce through somebody's ear with this. You can pierce somebody's ear through with this, and that hole in that person's ear would be highly noticeable. Okay? But in this case, this kind of awl right here, this kind of awl right here was designed to inject a particular device inside your skin. And this awl, or may I say, that device would be an RFID chip, which is about the size of a grain of rice. Okay? So, as I've said earlier, this awl was designed to inject an RFID chip inside below your skin, inside your skin, into the flesh, to make you what? A perpetual servant, a perpetual slave. However, who do you become a perpetual slave to? To the so-called elites. Just like how they have a patent on these different toxic injections and these different vaccines out there, they also have a patent on these RFID chips, which is the mark of the beast. And once they get this chip inside your body, you become a perpetual servant, a perpetual slave to them. So again, this is a all that was designed to inject a RFID chip inside the body, in which that RFID chip is that RFID chip inside the body is what will make that person a perpetual slave. Now, this is Palisade, and which the brother Kazak from Missouri, he did a video on Palisades, and basically I'm gonna read it. A palisade, sometimes called a stake wall or a paling, is typically a fence or defensive wall made from iron or wooden stakes or tree trunks and used as a defensive structure or enclosure. Palisades can form a stockade. Now, back in the ancient world, I believe during the Greek era, uh, the ruler or the king who was a Greek, whether if it was Antiochus, whether if it was Ptolemy, what they would do was they would take a they would take a wooden stake and they would put it inside the body. They would put it inside the body of an Israelite. And that stake inside the body of the Israelite would signify or would be a sign that that Israelite was a perpetual slave or belonged to the particular king at that time that ruled, that basically had rulership or rule over Israel. Okay, so here I clicked on etymology already, but check this out. Etymology: palisade derives from pale. Now I looked up pale in the definition, which I'm gonna get soon, Lord's will. But it says from the Latin word palus or palus. Yeah, I'm beginning to hate speaking Latin. It says meaning stake, specifically a stake used to support a fence. A palisade gangs these side by side to create a fence entirely made of pales. Entirely made of pales. Okay? Now, if you look up pale, right? First off, we got to understand what a palisade was made for. Okay, now as you see in this picture right here, let's see, I'm just going to open this up in a new tab. Let's see, I just want to see what it looks like. Okay, as you see right here, this is a pale, aka, which is an acronym for also known as a palisade. And a palisade was designed for what? For what purpose? For basically digging or penetrating into the earth. Now, if we come over here to Genesis, right? Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, and you'll see what I'm getting at real soon. And Yahweh, the power, okay, and Yahweh power formed man out of the dust of the ground. Now, let's come over here and let's look up the word dust. Most people think, when they see dust, they think of, the dust you see in the shit in the air or the dust on electronics or on furniture. No, that's not what the dust is talking about. The dust is talking about the dry earth. okay? The dry earth. What's another name for dry earth? The soil, the dirt. That's the dry earth, the ground, okay? Cement did not exist during the time of Adam and Eve, but there was mountains and there was also the ground. Now, where Adam and Eve were at during that time, there was grass, there was dirt, there was soil. Okay, without soil, you cannot have grass, you cannot have trees. Okay, so that's where the trees came from. That's where the soil came from. I mean, so like it, that's where the grass and the trees, the bushes, and all the other plants came from. They came from the earth. Which, when you look up Adam, Adam means from the earth. It goes back to the Hebrew word Adama, which means from the earth. No, Salakia. Let me correct myself. Adam goes back to the Hebrew word Adam, Adam, Ahdam, which means from the earth. So the Lord, okay, Most High created man from what? From the dry earth, from the soil, from the dirt. And that would explain why during the time of Adam and Eve, everybody had brown skin. Because what color is the soil of the earth? Brown. Okay? And this would also explain why, well, I mean, I've already proven my point. So, yeah, during the time of Adam and Eve, everybody was brown skinned, different shades of brown, woolly hair. Okay? Even the so called white man during the time of Adam and Eve, even he had brown skin and woolly hair before the Most High cursed him and took his melanin away because melanin is what makes your skin brown. It is a blessing to have melanin in your skin because by having melanin in your skin can benefit from sunlight. Okay, it can benefit from the different foods you eat. It can benefit from the air you breathe. It can benefit just from you being out in nature alone, being around plants and trees and peaceful animals. So the point that I'm trying to make here is, the point that I'm fighting to make here is that man was created from the soil of the earth, right? Now, your skin can be equated with the soil of the earth because the Lord created man out of the earth. Now, if you look at the needle, right? The needle can also pass to be a palisade. So you can also look at this needle right here as a palisade. Okay? And if you look at this, this even takes the form of a palisade or a pail. Because at the bottom of this pail or this palisade right here is sharp at the very tip of it. Just like these right here. You see how sharp these are at the top? The sharpening tip point of these things were designed to penetrate into the earth. Now our skin is likened unto the earth because we were created out of the earth. So this was designed to penetrate into the earth through our skin. This was designed to penetrate into our skin. You see? So our skin is also likened unto the earth because we were created out of the soil of the earth. So there's going to be a lot of people that's going to take this. Their skin is going to be penetrated with this awl, aka palisade, and this thing is going to inject a electronical device known as an RFID chip inside of their body, which is going to make them what? A perpetual slave. Now, here's the definition of pale, going into even more etymology. Now, like I said, I looked up the word pale and it just gives you BS, definitions. It just gives you BS definitions. But if we scroll down here, okay, it gives you pale and it shows you like, different brands of pails, and again, a pail is designed to penetrate into the earth. Now, if we come down here, right, it says a conceptual boundary. Now, if we come over here, right, we see confined. Now, I found something interesting, for, confined. So let's look up confined here. Now, this word was under the definition of pale. Now, check this out. Keep or restrict someone or something within certain limits of space, scope, quantity, or time. So if that RFID chip gets injected inside of you, it's going to be restricted from leaving your body. Keep. It's going to, another word for keep is to stay. So it's going to stay in your body. Now, you got some people who want to make mockery. Yeah, well, I could take the chip out. You still gonna be destroyed because you took the fucking chip to begin with. And hey, I pray to Yahweh. I pray to Yahweh, Bashum, Yahweh Shai, that I never take that chip. I pray to Yahweh, Bashum, Yahweh Shai, that I never take the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. And I pray to Yahweh, Bahashum, Yahweh Shai, that I never take the vaccine, okay? Because you can be destroyed for taking those things, okay? Okay? You can be destroyed for taking those things, okay? And if you call yourself being a brother in this truth, hey, you better pray and hope that you better pray and hope to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai that you do not take the RFID chip, and you better pray and hope to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai that you never take the vaccine or the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. Because you could be destroyed for taking those things, you see? Okay? Oh, here we go. Check this out. Another definition for confined: restrain or forbid someone from leaving. So if you take the RFID chip, basically you're going to be restrained to being a slave to the so-called elites, forbid from leaving. Basically, by taking that RFID chip, you're going to be forbidden from taking it out. So once you take the RFID chip, that RFID chip is going to be forbidden from leaving your body. It's going to be restrained to being inside your body. So that pretty much concludes this lesson. Lord's will, you were edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom is on to the next one. Shalom.